Good morning. So Brad is out of town at a conference, so you guys get me this morning. If you don't know me, I'm Justin. I'm our youth pastor here at Dulles Community Church. We're 3 weeks into this series called No Perfect People Allowed. And I want to acknowledge up front, there are some people that have been kind of offended by the title of the series because it seems like it's very unwelcoming to those of us that are perfect. I felt that originally. I just want to voice in front of everyone that I really felt that I was like, hey Brad, really? I mean, come on. I mean, where am I supposed to not come to church for 4 weeks? If no perfect people are allowed? No, in reality, I'm pretty far from perfect. If you read the New Testament, which tells the story of Jesus, who was this amazing revolutionary teacher who actually claimed to be God. And remarkable story. If you read that story, you find something that is a little bit surprising. I mean, you would expect that if we have now the story of God coming to hang out with human beings, you would expect like he'd go be with like his people. You know those people I'm talking about, you know, like the really righteous ones. Those really holy people, they're like really churched up people that are all holy and righteous and good. And that's who God would want to hang out with, certainly not imperfect people. I mean, if you were to expect, I mean, that's how I would at least see it. But then, when you read the New Testament, you get this completely different picture. That Jesus actually came and desired, he wanted to hang out in some of the worst places in town. He hung out with some of the most questionable company imaginable. And it drove those religious people who expected to be the ones God wanted to hang out with nuts. I mean, they would just sit back and go, what's your problem, Jesus? I don't understand. You keep the most questionable of company. I mean, Jesus was so controversial in this that he did things that you would not be happy if your pastor did them. Things that would make us all uncomfortable. I mean, you expect a little bit more like proprietary behavior from him. But he didn't. Jesus came and he died and he hung out with imperfect people, people with real problems and real faults. He didn't come to hang out with people that had it all together. Maybe because those people don't really exist. Maybe those people are more like unicorns, or leprechauns, or skinny cooks. Might be a nice thought, but it doesn't really exist. Well, nobody's perfect, and you're fine to understand that. Some of you just kind of glance around the room like they found out. Well, you might be saved this morning, but you might not, because all of us in this room are incredibly uncomfortable with imperfection. We don't like it. We don't like our own imperfection. We don't like other people's imperfection. We would rather just stay in our illusion of perfection, that people can't mess with the impression that we want to give of ourselves to the world. We don't like it. I have a neighbor who, I live in a townhouse row, and my neighbor 3 doors down has this incredible lawn. I have a lawn. It's about 5 feet by 6 feet, I think, and it's really hard to keep maintained. For whatever reason, I just can't get this thing green. Can't get the weeds out. It's really difficult. It's this huge piece of real estate that I have a hard time making. Well, my neighbor 2 rows down has got this incredible. I want to lay in his lawn. I just think it's just so desirable, and it looks so soft. And when I walk the dog, I kind of touch it. And then if the dog, doing his business, I'm like, no, not on that one. I'm like, no, this one's too nice. We'll go across the street to the other neighbors. But then I've got the neighbors on either side of me, and we love them. We think they're great. They might be here this morning, so I'm going to be kind of careful. But they don't have so much like lawns as weed gardens. And every year, the 3 of us kind of all rake out all our weeds, and we plant new grass seeds. We do it seems like every year all together. Everybody's out there raking out all the weeds and planting new grass seeds. We put fertilizer down, and if one of us buys turf builder, we put it on all 3 lawns or whatever. But it doesn't really matter because there's a 4th person who doesn't really care. And once the wind picks up, it just blows all the weed seed right back into our lawns again. And it makes me a little angry that their imperfection is invading my perfection. I'd rather keep it clean, and their messiness seems to be bothering me, and it's making a mess of me. And I'm also really curious as to how there's an invisible force field that protects the lawn of the 3rd guy. It's like no dandelion, it's like this bubble barrier that can't be penetrated. It drives me crazy. Well, this is what we do. Because we're so uncomfortable with messiness and imperfection, we are pretenders. And sometimes people that claim to be followers of Jesus are worst of all at this. We're really good at faking it. We're all really good at putting our church face on or putting our best foot forward and making sure that people perceive the good parts of us and we hide the bad parts of us. And I mean, we're so good at it, it's just this natural, instinctual thing that all of us do. We don't even think about it anymore. It's just subconscious. On this subconscious level, we have all these impression management statements that follow the things that we say. I was just hanging out the other day watching TV. Not that I watch a lot of TV. Why does anyone care if you watch a lot of TV? Why does that matter? Why are you so scared if they find out you watch a lot of TV? What are you trying to say? Well, the truth of it is, we have these deep insecurities and we're so afraid that people are going to find us lacking. So we do all this stuff. Fertilizer, elective surgery. I mean, all this stuff, and we hope at the end of all this stuff that people are going to find us impressive. That they're finally going to look at us and say, wow, you are handsome. You're a gentleman, and you're a scholar. People aren't that impressed. And so we put ourselves out there, at least the self that we want people to recognize and people to see, and sometimes we feel like that self gets rejected. And so our feelings are hurt. And this sense of rejection is something that we carry through our lives, and it's more than just getting our feelings hurt. This idea of rejection is reality for anyone outside of Christ.